A chosen one, do you have any idea what you just survived? They thought you would break. They expected you to quit. Heaven watched and hell celebrated too soon. You fought battles no one saw. You cried where no one heard you. You stood alone when even those you loved walked away, and still you did not bow. I saw every sleepless night. I heard every silent prayer. I counted every tear that fell when you thought I was silent. You felt abandoned, misunderstood, targeted. But you were never alone. What you did in the dark shook realms you cannot see. What you endured without applause made angels pause. They thought you were weak, but I knew who you were. You are not ordinary. You are not random. You are not overlooked. You are chosen. And what you just overcame alone was proof of the strength I placed inside you before you were ever attacked. Stay with me. You're about to understand why. Your isolation was not punishment. It was preparation for divine elevation. You thought I had removed everyone because you failed. You thought the silence meant I was disappointed. You thought the empty room was proof that you were forgotten. But listen to me carefully, chosen one. I did not isolate you to break you. I separated you to build you. When the noise faded, it was because I needed you to hear my voice clearly. When the invitations stopped, it was because I was closing doors that could not carry your destiny. When the circle grew smaller, it was because where I am taking you, not everyone can survive the altitude. You called it loneliness. I called it training. You were losing people, but you were gaining clarity. You were losing approval, but you were gaining identity. You were losing distractions, but you were gaining power. There are things I can only teach in solitude. In isolation, I showed you who you are without applause. In isolation, I revealed your strength without support. In isolation, I proved that what I placed inside you is stronger than what walked away from you. Do you know why it hurt so deeply? Because elevation always requires separation. Eagles do not rise in crowds. Diamonds are not formed in comfort. And chosen vessels are not shaped in constant noise. I had to remove the hands that were clapping for you, but secretly limiting you. I had to allow the misunderstanding so you would stop performing and start becoming. I had to let you feel alone so you would discover that my presence is enough. You survived nights that should have crushed you. You fought thoughts that tried to convince you that you were unwanted. You questioned your worth, but you never quit. That is why you are chosen. Isolation revealed your resilience. It exposed the warrior in you. It forced you to confront your fears without distraction. And now you are stronger. You depend less on validation and more on conviction. You seek my direction instead of human permission. You move with discernment instead of desperation. What felt like abandonment was actually alignment. I was aligning your heart with your calling, aligning your mind with your mission, aligning your spirit with your elevation. You were not being buried. You were being planted, and seeds must go into dark soil before they break into light. Soon, what was hidden will be revealed. Soon, the same people who doubted your silence will witness your rise. Soon, the isolation that felt unbearable will make sense. Because you are about to step into rooms that require strength you did not have before. I did not punish you, I prepared you. And the height I am taking you to would have destroyed the version of you that depended on the crowd. But this version, this refined, resilient, spiritually sharpened version, this one is ready. Your isolation was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your elevation. The rejection you felt was not a mistake. It was my protection redirecting your destiny. You called it heartbreak, you called it betrayal, you called it humiliation. But I called it mercy, chosen one. I saw what you could not see. I heard conversations you were never meant to hear. I watched doors close that would have led you into rooms designed to diminish you. You begged me to let it work. You prayed for them to stay. You tried harder, gave more, shrunk yourself. And still, they walked away. You thought you weren't enough. But the truth is, you were too much for a place that was never assigned to your future. If I had allowed that relationship to continue, it would have drained your anointing. If I had let that opportunity succeed, it would have delayed your calling. If I had forced that door open, it would have trapped you in a version of life beneath your destiny. Rejection feels personal. It cuts deep because you attached your hope to it. You saw a future there. You imagined stability there. But what you saw was comfort. What I saw was compromise. There are rooms you cried over that would have slowly erased your fire. There are people you miss who would have gradually weakened your faith. There are paths you mourn that would have led you far away from who I designed you to become. So I stepped in, not to hurt you, but to redirect you. You think rejection means you were denied, but often it means you were protected. You were not rejected because you were unworthy. You were rejected because your assignment is higher. Some people cannot walk with you because they are only meant to introduce a lesson, not a lifetime. Some opportunities glitter but carry hidden chains. Some open doors are traps dressed like blessings. I love you too much to let you settle in something smaller than your purpose. Yes, it hurt. You questioned your value. You replayed conversations. You wondered what you could have done differently. But what if I told you nothing was wrong with you? What if I told you the discomfort you felt was your spirit sensing misalignment? Chosen one, destiny requires precision. You cannot reach where I am taking you while holding on to what I removed. Rejection cleared the path. It freed your hands. It sharpened your discernment. It forced you to lean on me instead of leaning on approval. And now you are stronger. You trust deeper. You see clearer. You move wiser. The very no that crushed you is the reason you are still on track. Had they accepted you, you would have stayed too long. Had it worked out, you would have settled too low. Had they chosen you, you might have lost yourself. I did not reject you. I rescued you. And one day soon, you will look back at the closed doors and whisper, "Thank you." Because where I am leading you, they would not have survived the journey anyway. Your rejection was not the end. It was the redirection that saved your destiny. The spiritual attacks increased. Not because you were weak, but because your calling threatens darkness. Chosen one, listen to me. The pressure you felt was not random. The resistance you encountered was not coincidence. The sudden chaos that surrounded your life was not ordinary. Darkness does not waste energy on the insignificant. The moment you began to grow, the moment you started praying differently, the moment you stopped settling and started awakening, the atmosphere shifted, and so did the opposition. You wondered why everything became harder at once, why misunderstandings multiplied, why attacks came from places you never expected. It felt targeted, because it was, but not in the way you feared. You were not being attacked because you are cursed. You were being attacked because you are called. There is something on your life that disrupts darkness. There is authority in your voice that unsettles hidden forces. There is light in your spirit that exposes what prefers to stay concealed. And when light enters a room, darkness reacts. You felt fatigue that didn't make sense. You battled thoughts that weren't like you. You faced discouragement at the very moment you were about to break through. That is not weakness. That is warfare. But understand this clearly. The intensity of the attack reveals the magnitude of your assignment. Small callings face small resistance. But you carry influence, you carry impact, you carry something generational. The enemy does not fight for today. He fights for what your obedience will produce tomorrow. He sees glimpses of your future. He senses the shift your breakthrough will create. He recognizes the freedom your story will bring to others. So he tries to stop you early. He whispers lies. He sends distractions. He amplifies fear, not because he has authority over you, but because he is threatened by you. And yet you are still standing. Bruised maybe, tired yes, but still praying, still believing, still moving forward. That is what terrifies darkness the most. Not your perfection, your persistence. Every time you chose faith over fear, you advanced. Every time you worshipped through pain, you strengthened. Every time you refused to quit, you declared war on what tried to limit you. Chosen one. The battle intensified because you stepped closer to destiny. The closer you get to elevation, the louder the resistance becomes. But hear me, no attack can override my protection. No scheme can cancel what I have written. No force can steal what I have assigned. The warfare you feel is confirmation. Confirmation that you are not ordinary. Confirmation that you are advancing. Confirmation that something powerful is unfolding. If you were meant to stay small, there would be no need for such opposition. But you are not small. You are strategic. You are chosen. And the darkness fighting you now, it already knows what you are becoming. That is why it panics. Stand firm. Because the same calling that threatens darkness is the very light that will lead you into victory. The silent season was not empty. It was not abandonment. It was not neglect. It was training, chosen one. When everything grew quiet, when the answers stopped coming, when prayers seemed to echo back without response, you thought I had stepped away. But I was closer than ever. Silence is where depth is formed. When the noise faded and the applause disappeared, I was building something inside you that noise could never produce. I was strengthening muscles you didn't know you had. I was sharpening discernment. I was teaching you to recognize my whisper over the roar of the world. You wanted immediate clarity. I was developing unshakable faith. You wanted visible movement. I was constructing invisible strength. In that season, you learned to sit with discomfort. You learned to endure uncertainty. You learned to trust without proof. That is secret strength. Anyone can believe when doors are opening. Anyone can praise when outcomes are obvious. But you kept showing up when nothing made sense. That moved heaven. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening. I was adjusting your character so your success would not corrupt you. I was expanding your capacity so your blessing would not overwhelm you. I was aligning your heart so your influence would not distract you. Silence protects you from premature exposure. If I had elevated you before you were ready, the weight would have crushed you. If I had answered too quickly, you would have depended on signs instead of relationship. If I had spoken loudly every time, you would never have learned to seek me deeply. So I let it be quiet, not to punish you, but to prepare you. In that quiet place, you faced yourself. Your fears surfaced. Your insecurities spoke. Your doubts tried to convince you that you were forgotten. But instead of running, you stayed. You wrestled, you cried, you questioned, and you grew. That growth is sacred. Because now your faith is not based on emotion, it is rooted in endurance. Now your confidence is not based on validation, it is grounded in identity. Now your obedience is not based on excitement, it is anchored in conviction. The world did not see that transformation, but I did. Heaven recorded every unseen decision. Every moment you chose integrity over impulse. Every time you prayed through tears instead of quitting. That is secret strength. And secret strength sustains public victory. When the noise returns, and it will, you will not be moved easily. When recognition comes, and it will, you will not be intoxicated by it. When opposition rises again, and it will, you will not crumble, because you were trained in silence. Chosen one, the quiet season shaped a warrior who does not panic when things feel still. You are no longer desperate for constant signs. You are no longer shaken by temporary stillness. You understand that silence does not mean absence. It means preparation. And now, what was built in secret is about to carry you into spaces that require exactly the strength you developed when no one was watching. The silence was not the end of your story. It was heaven training you for destiny. What tried to break you actually revealed the anointing on your life. Chosen one, I need you to listen closely to me right now. Because you have spent too long thinking the pain meant you were weak. You have spent too long believing the pressure meant you were failing. You have spent too long interpreting the struggle as proof that you were not built for this calling. But I see what you cannot see. The very things that targeted you were actually reacting to the authority I placed inside you. The attacks did not begin when you became strong. They began when your anointing began to shine brighter than you realized. You noticed how some people suddenly changed around you. You noticed how opportunities became complicated. You noticed how conflict seemed to follow moments when you were growing spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. That was not coincidence. Something inside you was stirring in the unseen realm. Something inside you was awakening. And darkness does not remain quiet when destiny begins to rise. You thought you were being attacked because of mistakes you made. But I am telling you the truth, directly from my heart to yours. You were being opposed because of what you carry. There is a presence on your life that brings conviction into rooms. There is a light in your spirit that exposes lies without you saying a word. There is a strength in your endurance that inspires others to question their own bondage. You are not just surviving. You are carrying spiritual weight that affects more than just your personal life. That is why the pressure felt heavier than it should have. That is why the emotional battles were so intense. That is why some seasons felt like constant warfare without visible victory. Because anointing is often revealed through resistance. What tried to break you targeted your peace. It targeted your confidence. It targeted your relationships. It targeted your mind. Not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous to the systems of darkness trying to keep people bound. You kept standing when you should have collapsed. You kept praying when you felt empty. You kept believing when logic said give up. And that endurance is not stubbornness. That is spiritual authority being forged through fire. The cracks you felt forming inside you were not signs of destruction. They were openings where my strength could flow through you more powerfully. You are not the same person you were before the pain. Your compassion is deeper now. Your discernment is sharper now. Your spiritual sensitivity is stronger now. People may have misunderstood your quiet strength. They may have mistaken your patience for weakness. But heaven recognized the anointing growing inside your perseverance. And listen carefully. The very things that tried to destroy, you will now become evidence of the power working through you. Your story will carry authority, because you have walked through what others are afraid to face. The scars you carry are not signs of defeat. They are proof that you were in battles meant to eliminate you. Yet you are still here. And chosen one, the more they tried to break you, the more clearly your anointing was revealed. You are not broken. You are revealed. The betrayal you felt was not random pain. It was revelation. Chosen one, I know how deeply that cut you. I know you trusted them. I know you built hopes, shared secrets, and believed they would walk beside you for the long journey ahead. And then they betrayed you. You replayed it in your mind. You asked yourself what you did wrong. You tried to understand where love turned into distance, where loyalty turned into silence, where friendship turned into departure. But I want you to hear my voice clearly right now. The betrayal was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to expose who could not go where I am taking you. Not everyone is assigned to your destiny journey. Some people are assigned to seasons. Some people are assigned to lessons. Some people are assigned to moments of growth. But not everyone is assigned to your elevation. You were carrying vision while they were carrying comfort. You were thinking about purpose while they were thinking about convenience. You were moving toward destiny while they were satisfied with familiarity. And when destiny begins to move, not everyone has the spiritual stamina to walk with it. The betrayal hurt because you loved sincerely. You gave access to your heart. You trusted without calculation. You believed people could grow with you. That is not weakness. That is the heart I placed inside you. But I also placed discernment in your story through pain. When betrayal happened, it was like I was gently pulling you out of an environment that would have slowly suffocated your calling. You did not see it at first. You kept trying to hold relationships together that I was already loosening. You kept hoping people would change when I was already showing you who they were. I did not reveal the betrayal to shame you. I revealed it to save you. Because there are levels of destiny where loyalty matters more than familiarity. There are assignments where spiritual alignment is more important than emotional history. There are paths where you cannot carry people who secretly compete with your purpose. The betrayal exposed their limitations, not your mistakes. You were not betrayed because you were naive. You were betrayed because you were chosen for something bigger than their capacity to understand. And I know you grieved the version of them you believed in. You did not just lose people. You lost dreams you built around them. You lost imagined futures. You lost comfort. But I removed them because your destiny requires strength, not dependency. Listen closely. Chosen one. The people who betrayed you were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to reveal the boundaries of your destiny circle. Because where I am taking you requires trust, loyalty, and spiritual alignment that cannot be faked. And even though it felt like abandonment, it was actually protection. You are not walking alone because you are unwanted. You are walking forward because I am guiding you toward people and places that will honor the calling on your life. And one day, you will thank me for the betrayal because it cleared the path to your destiny. You survived battles alone because my divine protection was covering you unseen. Chosen one, I need you to feel the weight of these words deep inside your spirit. There were nights when you thought you were completely alone. There were moments when fear sat beside your bed and whispered that you were forgotten. There were days when you walked through life smiling while something inside you was silently breaking. But I was there. I saw the danger you never noticed. I blocked situations you never knew were coming. I redirected events that could have destroyed you before you even understood what was happening. You think you survived because you were strong, but you survived because I was protecting you. There were conversations you were not allowed to hear because they would have crushed your peace. There were accidents that almost happened but did not. There were decisions you almost made that would have taken you off your destiny path. And you will never know how many times I stepped between you and harm. You felt like you were fighting alone, but heaven was fighting with you. You fought emotional battles that no one saw. You fought spiritual battles in your thoughts, when doubt tried to convince you that you were not chosen. You fought internal battles when your past tried to drag you backward, while your future was calling you forward. And still, you kept walking. That perseverance was not luck. That survival was not coincidence. That endurance was not accidental. It was divine protection working quietly. I did not always remove the storms. Sometimes I gave you strength to stand inside them. Because protection is not always about removing danger. Sometimes protection is about making you stronger than what threatens you. You survived people who tried to diminish your worth. You survived environments that tried to change your spirit. You survived circumstances designed to make you lose hope. But you are still here. That is not ordinary survival. That is spiritual preservation. There were moments when you thought you were losing everything, but I was preserving what mattered most. Your purpose, your character, your destiny. You may have felt exposed. You may have felt vulnerable. You may have felt like you were walking through life without support. But unseen protection surrounded you like armor made of grace. Angels you cannot see stood watch over moments you cannot remember. And every time you thought you were about to fall completely, I held you in ways you could not feel, but your spirit knew. You are still here because you were not meant to disappear in obscurity. You were meant to survive so your story could become someone else's survival guide. The battles you fought alone were never meant to end you. They were meant to prove that my protection does not always look loud. Sometimes it looks like quiet strength. Sometimes it looks like endurance. Sometimes it looks like you simply waking up again and choosing to keep going. And chosen one. You are still standing because I have never stopped protecting you. Your breakthrough will be public, but your transformation was forged in private. Chosen one. I want you to remember every unseen moment that shaped who you are becoming. Because the world will only see the celebration. They will see the victory. They will see the doors opening, the opportunities arriving, the recognition, the honor, the elevation. But I will remember the nights when you were still becoming strong enough to carry that blessing. You cried in private. You prayed in private. You struggled with thoughts, fears, and uncertainties that you never showed anyone. You were transforming when nobody was watching. While others were chasing attention, you were chasing purpose. While others were building appearances, you were building character. While others were performing for crowds, you were learning how to stand firm when there was no audience. That is where real greatness is born. Your breakthrough will look sudden to people who were not present during your process. They will say you were lucky. They will say you were just in the right place at the right time. They will not see the tears, the persistence, the sacrifices, the prayers spoken when hope felt distant. But I saw everything. I saw every time you wanted to quit but stayed anyway. I saw every time you felt overlooked but continued walking in faith. I saw every time you chose growth instead of comfort. Transformation is quiet work. It happens when you forgive without receiving apologies. It happens when you keep believing, even when evidence is missing. It happens when you build resilience in the middle of emotional storms. I was shaping your spirit in private seasons because your destiny requires stability, not just excitement. If I had given you public success before private maturity, the weight of recognition could have overwhelmed you. If I had promoted you before refining you, influence could have distracted you from purpose. If I had elevated you before strengthening you, visibility could have broken you. So I worked on your heart first. I strengthened your mind when negative voices tried to claim ownership over your identity. I strengthened your faith when circumstances made believing difficult. I strengthened your endurance when waiting felt unbearable. And now, the world will see the result of what I built in secret. Your story will carry authority because you have lived through hidden struggle. Your words will carry power because you have spoken to me in your darkest hours. Your presence will carry peace because you learned how to stand with me when nothing else made sense. Your breakthrough will not just be success. It will be testimony. People will wonder how you remained humble. They will wonder how you stayed strong. They will wonder how you did not give up. And you will know the truth. You were not just surviving. You were being prepared for glory that could only be entrusted to someone who had already been transformed in private. Chosen one, your breakthrough is coming. And when it does, it will be clear that heaven was working in secret long before the world ever noticed your rise. Listen, because something is about to shift in how you see your pain. You are beginning to realize that nothing you went through was wasted. The heartbreak had purpose. The loneliness had purpose. The confusion had purpose. The nights you cried until you had no more tears left had purpose. You thought you were being broken. But I was preparing you. Chosen one, I was not absent when you felt abandoned. I was not silent because I didn't care. I was working in places you could not see, building strength inside your spirit that comfort could never create. You wanted escape from the pain. I wanted transformation through it. Because destiny is not given to people who only know comfort. Destiny is entrusted to people who can carry glory after walking through fire. Do you feel that rising inside your spirit right now? That quiet realization that your story is different, that your survival was not random, that you are still here for a reason you are just beginning to understand. Good, because your pain was not punishment. It was preparation. Every rejection was strengthening your emotional armor. Every betrayal was sharpening your spiritual discernment. Every closed door was redirecting you toward an assignment that required stronger character than you had before. You were being trained in hidden classrooms of suffering, where I personally taught you endurance, resilience, and spiritual authority. You did not see me, but I was there, standing between you and destruction, redirecting situations that could have destroyed your future before it even began, protecting your calling when you did not even fully understand what you were called to become. There were moments when you thought you were losing everything, but I was actually removing everything that would have kept you small. Because what I am activating in your life requires strength, wisdom, and spiritual maturity. You are not just surviving anymore. You are entering activation territory. This is where pain starts making sense. This is where your tears become fuel for purpose. This is where your testimony begins replacing your trauma. The enemy wanted your pain to define you, but I am turning your pain into authority. Soon, you will speak with power because you have lived through what you will help others survive. You will comfort people you have never met because your story carries healing inside it. And listen closely. The same protection that carried you through your darkest days is still surrounding you now. You were never walking alone. You were being prepared. You were being protected. You were being positioned. And chosen one. What you thought was your end was actually the beginning of your destiny awakening. Chosen one, hear me clearly as this message ends. You are not forgotten. You were never abandoned. I was with you in every battle you fought alone, every tear you hid, every moment you thought you would not survive. You are still standing because my hand never left your life. The storms were not stronger than your calling. The darkness was never stronger than my light inside you. What tried to bury, you only helped reveal the warrior I placed in your spirit before you were born. Stand up again. Breathe again. Believe again. Your story is not finished. Your destiny is still moving forward with unstoppable purpose. What is coming for you is greater than what tried to stop you. Walk forward with courage. Walk forward with faith. Walk forward knowing heaven is backing you. You are chosen. You are protected. You are destined to win. And what I started in you, I will finish with victory.